Today, we're digging into a concept that sounds like it's straight out of science fiction, but it could hit very, very close to home. It's called the economic singularity, and we're going to explore how a future run by AI could spark a massive crisis for the biggest loan most of us ever take out, our mortgage. So, first things first, what in the world is the economic singularity? Look, this isn't just about a few more robots on an assembly line. We're talking about a fundamental shift in how our entire economy works. Okay. Think of it like this: a moment, a tipping point, where for almost any job you can think of, a machine can do it better, faster, and cheaper than a person. This isn't some far-off fantasy anymore. It's a future that economists are genuinely planning for. And if it happens, it would turn everything we know about earning a living completely upside down. And here's the part that really gets your attention. This isn't a problem for our grandkids. Some analysts are predicting this tipping point could hit as soon as 2030. Yeah, that's less than a decade away, well inside the lifespan of a typical 30-year mortgage.
So that brings up a huge question. What does a world with fewer and fewer jobs mean for the cornerstone of the American dream? I mean, if our income is tied to our job and that job disappears, how do you pay the mortgage?
As this wave of automation gets faster, it's not just factory jobs we're talking about. We're looking at roles in accounting, in law, maybe even creative fields, all potentially becoming obsolete. The result could be a really devastating blow to incomes for, well, almost everyone. And this right here, this is the question at the heart of the whole thing. It's deeply personal. Our entire financial system, all the loans we've taken out, it's all built on one simple assumption: a steady human income. What happens when that assumption completely shatters? This quote really just nails it, doesn't it? It takes this big, abstract economic theory and brings it right down to the kitchen table, to a reality that millions of families could face. Now, a problem this big isn't just personal. It's the starting gun for a massive, system-wide crisis. Because when millions of people are all facing the exact same problem at the exact same time, you know the fallout is going to be huge. You can see the dominoes start to fall, and it's a pretty frighteningly logical chain of events. No income means people can't pay their mortgages. That leads to defaults on a massive scale, which puts unbelievable pressure on the banks holding all those loans. And if enough banks start to fail, the stability of the entire financial system is at risk. To put this into perspective, think back to the 2008 financial crisis. Well, some analysts suggest that the chaos from an economic singularity could make 2008 look like a minor blip. Here's the difference. 2008 was about bad loans. This would be about the end of income itself. A crisis this big could force governments to think about some really radical solutions. I mean, we're talking about ideas that are way, way outside the box today, from nationalizing all the houses to new types of communal living, or even local barter systems popping up because regular money just doesn't work the same way anymore.
Okay, so is this bleak future just a done deal, or are there actual solutions that could help us get through this without a total collapse? Well, that debate is already happening.
The most popular idea out there is something called universal basic income, or UBI. It's basically the idea of giving every single citizen a regular, no-strings-attached paycheck. The logic is simple. You tax the enormous profits from all this AI and automation, and you give it back to the people so they can cover the basics, like housing. But of course, the skeptics are asking some tough questions, like, can we really roll something this huge out fast enough? And would it even survive the political chaos that would come with this kind of disruption? So beyond just giving everyone money, some people think that work itself won't just disappear, it'll evolve. Maybe the singularity isn't the end of human work, but a total transformation of it. This is the more optimistic take, right? The idea that new jobs will pop up that we can't even imagine yet. Things like an AI collaborator or a robot ethicist. Our whole relationship with work could change, shifting to shorter work weeks or more creative, project-based jobs. The big multi-trillion-dollar question, of course, is whether these new jobs would appear fast enough and for enough people to make up for all the jobs that are lost. When you boil it all down, it feels like we're heading towards a major fork in the road with two very, very different destinations. The technology itself isn't good or bad. The world it creates is going to depend completely on how we manage its arrival. And the two extremes are pretty stark. One path leads to a really bleak future with mass unemployment and our social systems falling apart, but the other path, It leads to a kind of renaissance, a world where we're free from the daily grind to focus on creativity, community, and solving even bigger problems. As that 2030 date gets closer and closer, this whole conversation stops being some philosophical debate for the future. It becomes a very practical, very personal, and frankly, a very urgent conversation about the world we are building right now for ourselves and for our kids. So here's the crucial point we're left with. The outcome here is not written in stone. The arrival of this kind of technology feels, well, it feels inevitable. But the kind of society that comes out on the other side, that is not. The future it creates will be a direct result of the choices we make, the policies we enact, and the conversations we start having right now. So which one is it going to be?